Hey, this is Mr. Palacios with part 2 of 3 videos. And this one we're going to be looking at what happens when we subtract a number from our x squared. So instead of having x squared, gx equals x squared, what we're going to do is take that x squared and subtract a number from it. Now what makes this part easier is that you can set x to 0 very easily. You can set this to 0 very easily and find out where our vertex is going to be. You know that the vertex is going to be somewhere along the x-axis. How do I know that? Well, that's because if I set x to a certain number, when I subtract that number from itself, it's going to be 0, and 0 times 0 is 0. And so all we're really looking for is here and here, what number do I put into the equation that's going to get my y to equal 0. So in this case, 1 would be the number that gives us 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 squared is 0. Okay. Here, it's going to be negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. And 0 squared is 0. Now notice the vertex on these graphs does lie on the x-axis. So unlike our last one where the vertex went up or down the x-axis, here we're going to set the vertex along, unlike in our last video where the vertex was up or down the y-axis, this one is going to be left or right along the x-axis. Okay, and so now we're learning how to move this graph to where we need it to be, and that's how we're going to get some real data here. And so we know that 1 is going to be our vertex. 1 is going to give us the output of 0. Okay, and then you could just put your graph on from there. So unlike when we just did x squared and we could just set 0 as our vertex, our origin is where everything is going to come away from. In this one, we need to find out where that vertex is going to be and then figure out what we want to graph from there. So in this case, I want to start with 1 and then go 2 or 3 numbers less than 1 and then 2 or 3 numbers more than 1. Okay, if this was 3, then I would start with, if it was x minus 3 squared, I would start with 3 because I know that's where my vertex is going to be. And then I'd do a couple numbers less than 3 and a couple numbers larger than 3. All right, so here we go. If we set our x as -2, our output is 9. -1, our output is 4. 0, our output is 1. So notice in this one, unlike the last one, if we set x as 0, then we still do get output from it. Okay, 1 is 0. 2, our output is 1. 3, our output is 4. And 4, our output is 9. So this is where it kind of gets funky. When our vertex was along the y-axis, it's pretty easy to figure out. Just go like -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3, you're done. Here we're going to have to figure out where that vertex is and then go off of that. Now you notice that our vertex is still going up. We'll figure out and we'll talk about how we get our graph to go down in our next couple videos. But for right now, just suffice it to say that we would graph here 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, -1, 4, -2, 9 would be somewhere up here. Same thing right here. 2, 1, 3, 4, and then this would be 4, 9 somewhere up here. Okay. That's with subtractions. So subtraction is a little bit easier. With the addition problem, we're just going to have to think negatives. So what negative number can we add to this number that will get us 0? In this case, it's going to be -1. -1 plus 1 is 0. 0 squared is 0. So we're going to go a couple numbers less than -1 and a couple numbers larger than 1. So we'll do -2, -3, -4. We get 1, 4, and 9 as our outputs. We have 0, 1, 2. We get 1, 4, and 9 as our outputs as well. So again, these graphs are going up. They're coming off of the vertex, which we only have to set by finding out what number do we plug into this equation that will get us 0. Sorry, this one was a little bit longer, but the next video, I promise, will be a little bit shorter. Peace.